Hi guys, my name is Stephanie and I am back with another video. Today we're going to be going over the ways that you can stop a barn swallow from nesting around your house. So this is my house, and for the first time about 6 or 7 years ago, a barn swallow showed up and built a nest without me noticing. And since that nest is so high up, I couldn't actually see whether or not there were eggs inside. Barn swallows, you're not allowed to disturb their nest if there are possibly eggs inside already. That is a rule in the US for a lot of migratory birds, so I left it alone. I thought there couldn't be really any harm in letting one bird have a nest there. But since that one bird was nesting there, that seemed to be a green light for 10 of his friends to show up, and soon I had 10 to 15 more mud nests all along the top of that overhang. I don't have a picture from when that happened to me, but here's a very similar picture to what it looked like. And as you can imagine, all underneath of that, all over my patio, my columns, was bird poop for probably 3 months. That bird poop is actually really thick and sticky. I could not scrub it off by hand. I was using a stiff bristle brush, Dawn dish soap, and hot water. Could not scrub it off by hand. I had to use a pressure washer to get rid of it. So think about that too before you let them nest in your front porch. And the sounds that these birds make over that amount of time can be very loud and annoying from inside the house. Now, I know that there are going to be a few of you out there that think there's no harm in letting these birds nest on our patio. We share our space with them. I have a big yard with lots of trees and a barn. I don't mind if they nest in lots of places around my property, but when it comes to the areas where we're going to be walking in and out of the house a lot, I cannot have bird poop there. Bird poop can carry bacteria, fungi, parasites, a lot of diseases that can be tracked into your house from the shoes. I have kids walking in and out all the time. I can't have them touching their shoes and then touching their faces, possibly catching something. The same would be true for dogs, if any of you have dogs. So again, I love all the wildlife around my yard. I even hand-fed this baby crow for a couple days before I could take him to the SPCA. So love the birds, but I can't let them nest where we walk. So here's what I've been doing to stop this from happening again. For 3 or 4 years after that first nesting happened, this owl was good enough to keep them from nesting on my front porch. I could see them every May come and they would be swooping around my front porch, but they would never nest because of this owl. But a couple of years ago, the owl stopped working and they started trying to build nests again. Now, I'm really paranoid when it comes to May now, when the birds start showing up around my house again. So every May, I start knocking down the nest right away and I put up shiny objects. Wind chimes like these that spin or even make noise are really great at scaring away barn swallows, especially if they sort of have a reflection, a shiny surface that can sort of cause little flashes of light. I think the barn swallow thinks that that is movement, that there's something there, so they go away really quickly. So movement, wind chimes, shiny surfaces, great for hanging up there. My porch is way too high for me to hang something like that, so I usually have to stick something up there. If you have a really high porch like me, then I'll show you how I do it in a minute, but I usually use a sticky reflective tape or something that I stick to tape that I can stick up there. So reflective tapes like this would be great for scaring off those barn swallows. This year, I decided to use this reflective cry cut paper. I don't even know what you call it. I don't have a cry cut, but this is about $3 at Walmart, and it's sticker paper. So I'm going to make something with this to scare off the birds. It'll have a little bit of movement and it'll keep them away. I'll show you how easy it is. You could even hang up some of these shiny cupcake holders anywhere that they're trying to nest, and they would scare away the birds too. The key is the shininess. I've even put aluminum foil from my kitchen attached to some painter's tape up on my porch, and it keeps them away. That foil works just as well. So for this year's shiny objects, I just cut up some of that cry-cut stickered paper into little strips. Then I rolled up a 2-inch wide strip of duct tape. I roll it like this because I want it to be sticky on both sides. So I'm going to stick the shiny stuff to the front side, and the stickiness on the back side is going to have it stick to my ceiling. Then I stick on a bunch of those shiny strips before I take it outside to try to hang it up on my porch ceiling. Here's the finished shiny object I'm going to hang up. The back side is completely exposed, ready to stick up on my porch ceiling. The front side has a little bit of stickiness exposed just so I can stick it onto this 16-foot pole and lift it up into place. Doing this every May is a pain because of that pole and trying to get something to stick that high up. So I do have to do it, a bunch of different times before I finally get enough to stick up there that it's going to scare the birds away. So check this out. This is the exact same night I decided I needed to hang up that shiny object, and I stepped out onto my porch at dusk, and sure enough, that barn swallow is here. So this was the night he was going to start nesting in my yard. It is a good thing I decided to get up and finally hang those up. If I hadn't, he would have gotten pretty far on his mud nest by the next morning. So if he hasn't finished his nest, I didn't say, I scrape off the nest if he's already started working on one with that extendable pole. So that's a 16-foot extendable pole that you can get at most hardware stores. I love those things. It makes a lot of jobs around the house so much easier. And here's a quick look at the shiny objects hanging around different spots in my porch ceiling. I ended up hanging up 4 different ones in different spots that I know they like. That shininess, that reflection is going to help keep them away. But since I can't attach them with a nail or a screw the way I would if my porch ceiling was lower, they do blow away sometimes in our strong Houston winds here. So I do keep an eye on them all through the month of May to make sure that they don't start building nests. Seriously, I'm constantly peeking out of the side lights on my door or just opening up my door all day long during the month of May to make sure that if they start building a nest, I can knock it down before it finishes, because I will not let bird poop cover my front porch again. Okay guys, that's it for my tips and tricks for how to stop barn swallows from nesting around your house. Let me know if you have any tips and tricks that have worked for you, and if you have any questions, put them in the comments because I do try to answer them when I get a chance. All right, good luck.